On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
The young blood that I've known him since he was short. He ran up on me and we hadn't talked in a minute. And our conversation was, man, so what's up? When we buying the block back? When you convincing these jokers to buy the block back? There's so many empty houses on the block, da, 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 da. And we had a really good conversation. And so I say all of that to say it's not that per se that to me, I don't think it's a situation where it's not enough men who are good men. The men, from what I'm seeing now, especially the way these conversations are being introduced and the way that they're spreading like wildfire, and you see a lot of these content creators that cater exclusively to men, the subs that they get and the number of shorties that are tapping in with them, man, it's cats that's hungry and trying to get the information to become the best versions of themselves, absent of a father figure or an uncle or somebody that could teach them. So it's good brothers out there. I think it's just a matter of who you associate yourself with.
Yeah, I think of some great points. What about you, Rilla?
Yeah, I'm gonna approach it from if the woman already knows.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Just like they were like intentionally doing it,
yeah,
not knowing.
The situations that I've seen, even when you look at like some of this reality TV stuff. I mean, again, I've talked about at least this culture that's been created and celebrated where women are cool with being side chicks. They got anthems, side chick anthems. They love being the side chick, right? And so I think the ladies already spoke on the fact that, you get to have all the fun. You get to spend the money and have the fun and go on the trips and be work wife or whatever else without having to put any toil in other than playing the girlfriend role and, I don't know, whatever maintenance he requires to make him happy in the moment. But I think it's very short-sighted. And we don't see many women that have successfully parlayed that role into relationships. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know many women that have parlayed being the side chick or the girlfriend successfully into a successful relationship, marriage, or family with a married man. And then I think it also, just from a man's perspective, to us, a lot of times it appears catty when women who know this man is married and you're gonna go after him anyway. To us, it looks like, it's some female cattiness where you trying to get him or one up the chick that you think you better than. I was listening to broadcast last night where the woman was talking about the husband's girlfriend showed up to his job as she was picking him up, and it was like, what are you doing here with my boyfriend? Got into a whole fight and she ended up in jail. I mean, these are the things that women are cool with being a side chick and they celebrate it. They revel in it, man. It's crazy.
Was the lady married or was that just a boyfriend girlfriend?
No, the lady said she was married to the dude. It was early in their relationship and she showed up to his job to pick her husband up in her car. And some lady walked up to the car like, what are you doing with my boyfriend?
Anton, in your opinion, why do you feel as though some women date married men?
I just think that women are just naturally, instinctively hypergamous, regardless of the circumstance and the situation, and they want the best available option, regardless of whether or not that option is married. Like, they just want the best, period. And I think that a lot of women find that, first of all, I tell guys this all the time, like, the less available you are, the more hot you're going to be. Like, it's a scarcity mindset. And as long as you operating in a space to where your mentality is always to not be available for every single person, you always going to be hot. You always going to be dope. And the more that you level up, the more that you continue to do the work, the more that you focus on yourself, the more you're going to be hot regardless. Right. And so that's A. B, women are hypergamous by nature. So what you're always going to find is that a man that is successful, whether he's successful in his business and his finances, in his relationship and his money, taking care of his kids, that's always going to be attractive to women instinctively, whether they know it or not. Sometimes women are attracted to you and they don't even know they're attracted to you yet. They just feeling you. They instinctively are comparing you against the man that they already got. Like, you know, it's just in them to want the best available guy. And so when they can align themselves with a guy that's winning, they're gonna shoot their shot. Most women, they're gonna shoot their shot because they want better. Often at times they find themselves settling for what they have, and they're always going to want the best available option. And sometimes that comes in a different package. Men are a little bit more territorial. Women are in a space to where I think that they are a little bit more malleable. I don't know if that's the word that I'm looking for. They're a little bit more open to the possibilities, and they're always paying attention to what the best available option is by default. And if you wear your ring, you're probably gonna get more more opportunities than if you don't. That's just real. Women
Anton,
want
I have
what
a
they
question.
can't have.
I have a question for you. Do you think that these women are trying to take the husband away from the wife, or do you think that they're just dating just to have that time, but they don't actually want the men?
I don't think that they dating to take the woman away from the wife. I think you'll find some situations where that may be true, right? Or they'll grow into a space to where that may be something that they want long term. But I don't think that that's the initial objective of them getting into it and going into it. I think they just want what they want, and it's an opportunity. And then eventually, because women are emotional and they're usually emotionally connected to whatever it is that they spend the most time with, it's going to translate into something a little bit stronger for them long term. But I don't think that that's even the thing that they go into it thinking. They just want what they want.
It's kind of crazy because I've been in conversations with guys where they be like, man, it's just not a lot of good men out here. You know, that's why they get us, like referring to them. Do you guys feel like there's not enough good men out there?
Let me say this, because I have said this on the show before. I think when I initially came in guns blazing, right? And everybody was like up in the, oh, he a beta simp, whole stud ass nigga.
You know what's so funny about that, Rilla?
Go ahead.
You my guy, so I've refined even my jokes. When he had went through all of the women, I just kind of giggled to myself, and I was thinking to myself, I would crack a joke on Rilla in the past and say, so Rilla, why do you date married men? But I didn't. And I'm just saying this because I'm changing, I'm evolving. Like, that was just the perfect setup. Like, instinctively,
that would have been.
Like, Anton cracked the joke, but I just stayed away from it.
Yeah,
You got to,
brother. Yeah, you know, there's same way you say you can dish, you got to be able to take it, right?
That's true. That is true. And I listen, you can't say that I don't take it.
No. I'm not saying that.
Pause.
But no, don't pause. No, but look, this is what I'm saying though. When I first came on the show, I did have a perspective. And I think that was more skewed on, you know, what you see on social media, because it doesn't match what I see in my everyday life. To be honest, I literally was on the block today, and I was rapping with one of the young bloods, right? They out there doing their thing or whatever. On King Talk the other day, that panel, man, dynamic. Shout out to you, JR. That dynamic panel, all brothers, all fairly successful in their own right, all leveling up in their own right. You know what I'm saying? Surrounded by greatness, talking solutions, right? And honestly, I think I'm just saying, as brothers in our everyday life, we're more closely aligned with people who are successful in their respective arenas, right? We gravitate to those people more than we do the Pookies and the Ray Rays, right? So even when I pulled up on the block and the Pookies and the Ray Ray, and it literally was out there shooting craps in front of, you know, whoever house or whatever, the young blood that I've known him since he was short, he ran up on me and we had talked in a minute, and our conversation was, man, so what's up? When we buying the block back? When you convincing these jokers to buy the block back? There's so many empty houses on the block, and we had a really good conversation. And so I say all of that to say it's not that per se that to me, I don't think it's a situation where it's not enough men who are good men. The men, from what I'm seeing now, especially the way these conversations are being introduced and the way that they're spreading like wildfire, and you see a lot of these content creators that cater exclusively to men, the subs that they get and the number of shorties that are tapping in with them, man, it's cats that's hungry and trying to get the information to become the best versions of themselves absent of a father figure or an uncle or somebody that could teach him. So it's good brothers out there. I think it's just a matter of who you associate yourself with.